Hello everyone, I thought I'd do a review on this G9X I've been using for the past few weeks. I'm not new to Cardo or Scala rider because I've used the G4 before. But the G9X is the latest model and it comes with a few more features than my old G4. I'm not going to do an unboxing because, you know, personally I don't like unboxings, but the important thing is this particular one is what we call a power set. So there's two factory paired units in here. So what you get with them is you can get mounts like this. If you have problems mounting your unit into your helmet, you can get the sticky pads. But the unit itself, this is the old unit. It used to come with a plastic back mount. Now it's a thinner metal back mount. This is the old one. It also came initially with a boom mic, or you could choose a corded mic as well. But with the boom mic, the problem was once that was on your helmet, getting this bulky item here fitted through under your helmet. But now they give you what you call a hybrid mic, which has basically got one of these wires coming out and then it goes to a boom, and it's a lot better. But you can also buy another headset if you want to. If you've got more than one helmet, you can buy another headset as well. Also in the box, you get yourself a full face mic if you want it. So if you don't want to use the boom, you can plug this in now, where on this unit it was sealed in and you didn't have much choice. But they also include this other microphone, which I think is really handy. They give you this charging plug as well, so if you don't want to be restricted to using your PC or your laptop, you can plug that in anywhere. And I suppose anything that takes a USB can be charged, so you get two of those in this set. But you can also buy them singly. You get an MP3 cable, so you can plug your iPod into it if you want to. Also, there's something that's really clever. I don't know whether any of you have already got these Bluetooth units, but your cutouts in your helmet tend to be a little bit too far back, and the problem is these earphones or these earpieces are quite thin. So they are quite a way away from your ear, and it degrades the sound really. It doesn't sound as good as it could do. But with these stick into the hole in your helmet, or the cutback, and then the earpiece fits on, and it makes it a bit closer to your ears, which makes the sound a lot better. Nice little touch, that. And you get a couple of wind cheaters as well with it, as spares. And a little bag that you can put your unit in. It's quite clever. I'm pretty impressed with how Cardo have actually thought this out. They seem to have included everything that you'll want, including an Allen key, so you don't have to go searching around for one. And then that will tighten that onto the back of your helmet. Clever stuff. So that's everything that's in the box. The unit itself clips onto the side of your helmet just here. So that goes on like that and then locks in. And another improvement as well is they've got a little release tab here, so that if you haven't clipped it in properly, that will make sure it's locked in, which is very clever. So the features of this thing, it's really well clipped in as well. The features of this is that you can connect to up to 8 other what they call buddies, and you can speak to them one-to-one by pressing and selecting their name, or pressing this side thing here and selecting their name, and it's one-to-one, whichever one you want to speak to. And if for any reason they go out of range, then you can also choose this to phone them as well, so if you get lost you can get in touch with them quite easily. It connects to four other people, or 3 other people rather, if you wanted to use the full duplex. Now duplex is something where you can speak at the same time, just like on a normal phone call, where if you use normal radios, these PMR radios that people use, only one person can speak at a time. And it works up to a mile away in favourable conditions, so that's going to be something like line of sight. But even if it's out of line of sight, it's still got a really good range to it. It's also got a bump to link feature, so if you wanted to pair this, if for any reason you bought another one, you press and hold both of the A buttons on the units and then you just bang them together and then they're paired. It's a very clever way of doing it, and it's so easy. You can have voice activation on this as well, where if you speak loudly into the microphone it kicks into a menu and then lets you speak, but I disconnected that, as I'll explain later. It's also got a radio, but again I disconnected that because I don't really listen to the radio. These newer models have got what you call a music sharing feature, so if you've got a rider to passenger, then you can actually listen to the same music People not too keen on listening to music on the bike, and they said it'll take your attention away, but I think that depends on how much you concentrate and how loud your music is. If ever I play music, I have it very, very low, and as I say to people, I have music on in my car and I don't crash. So that's entirely up to you whether you want to listen to music or not. The comms on this, or the communications, is absolutely crystal clear, and as I say, it's up to a mile, which is really clever. But there is also an Android app, and let me show you that. So I'm just going to pop this on first and turn it on, and then I'll show you how the Android app works. So press and hold that until it flashes. There you go. And that's booting in, and then it'll connect to my phone automatically. Oh, there's me. Hello. It's the thing about having these sort of screens, they're really reflective, aren't they? Okay, so let's open this up, and there's the Cardo app. And then it should automatically connect. It's saying turn on your device, so it's not connected to my phone yet. Now it's connected, look. So now it'll come up with my G9X. There you go. So press that. That's now connected to the unit on my helmet, so I don't have to keep plugging it into my laptop to get it to work. So here you can see click to link. That's if you are in range of somebody else with a G9 and you want to talk to them, but personally I don't see why you want to talk to strangers like that, so I didn't bother. You've also got the RDS feature, which is the radio, which again I've not used. I turned the Vox off because I was having a problem. If I coughed or something, it was actually activating the voice activation, which meant it was quietening or cutting off other communications, so I just disconnected that. It's a pain in the backside, to be honest. The AGC is the auto gain control. That means that when you listen to music at, let's say, 15-20 miles an hour, it's a certain volume level, but then when you start to get all the wind noise when you pick your speed up, this can automatically turn the volume up for you without you having to touch your unit. So that's quite clever as well, isn't it? Then there's a couple of others, and you can see there's a hot dial, which I blew it out. If I press this B button twice here, it will automatically phone my chosen number, which is Lynn's. And then press save, saving, and there you go, save successfully. So I've now changed the settings on that without having to plug it into a PC. How clever is that? It's also got something called a conference call ability. So if somebody's actually phoning you whilst you're talking to somebody in the intercom, then you can answer it, and if it's somebody that you both know, you can actually patch them through as well by pressing your A button and bringing the intercom caller into the phone call, which I think is really clever. The only problem I've found here, and this is one of my complaints, is that there's no way once the phone starts ringing that I can see that you can let the other person know that your phone's ringing. So they might be talking to you and thinking there's something wrong with the Scala rider when there actually isn't. It's just given a priority to the phone call. So, you know, if there's something they can do about that, or if somebody can correct me, then again I'll put a correction in the bottom in the description. The other problems I've had is when I was trying to get the music going. If you press and hold A for 2 seconds, it gets the music started, but I was finding it wasn't doing that for some reason. After contacting Cardo, they got back to me very quickly and told me that I was probably pressing the button too long, and I was going over the 2 seconds and it wasn't working. So I always press it and go 1 1000, 2 1000, and then let go, and the music starts. To forward your music, you press and hold volume up, or if you want volume up, you press and let go, or they call it tap volume up. The middle button here is for making your phone calls or using your voice activation. So if you press that once, on the Samsung it says dial number, or say call followed by number or name, and then it'll dial a number for you if you want. It also answers the calls. You can connect up to 2 phones, or you can have a phone and a sat-nav, or if you link one of your phones through the sat-nav, you could technically have 2 phones and a sat-nav linked up to this, which I think is really, really clever. And the aerial doesn't really get in the way, and it's easier to operate than the old aerial on this, because this one you had to sort of like press it down, move it out. You can see, look, I'm still struggling to get this thing up. There we go. Now it's just a lot easier. You push it in and it pops up. Ooh. The other problem I had, that Lindsay's wouldn't play any music, so we had to have a look in the phone, and her music folder was empty. All her music was in an Amazon folder. So again, it was our fault. We put all the music into this music folder and it plays music okay. You usually find if anybody's not happy with the Scala rider, it's because usually it's user error. They've not operated it right, or they've not read the instructions right, or there might be a setting that's overriding, for example the Vox setting. The first time we used the G4, we tried it in here when it was quiet and it wasn't working as well as it could, and we were a little bit disappointed. But we tried it anyway when we went out for the ride, and we found that it was a lot better when you were actually out there because of all the other noise. It's designed to squelch the noise and then pick up your voice, and believe it or not, it actually worked better when we were riding the bike with noise than it did in a quiet environment. So if you do buy one of these, don't get disheartened if there's any problems in a quiet room. Go out for a ride and try it, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. There was also a time when I pressed the voice activation and it said no network available, and I wasn't very happy about that. But again, that's not Scala's fault. That was the G9X talking through the Samsung telling me that the Samsung had no network connection. So again, that's not the Scala's fault. So I'd probably say a good 90–95% of the problems that you have, if you have them on a Scala rider, is either user error or something to do with your phone. So my settings, I've turned the Vox off, I've turned the radio off, and it works really nicely now. So the positives. These buttons are easy to find even with a gloved hand. Very clear reception, works up to a good distance, and it's not quite a mile when you're around trees and things, but it's impressive out of sight communications, so I'm chuffed with that. The wind cancellation on this is fantastic. Prices on these start about £80 for the basic QZ unit. I'll put a picture up here for you because they do actually do a range on Scala Rider. These ones here aren't necessarily that cheap, and they retail at about £380 for a pair, or £215 or so for a single. But again, it's one of the best things I've ever purchased. But if that is a little bit too steep for you, then what you can do is you can buy the QZ, which is basically connecting to your phone and your sat nav, and you can listen to music, and they only retail at about £85. Then you go on to the Q1, which is a rider to passenger Bluetooth. So it only works within a few meters, but it's perfect wireless communications for the rider and the passenger. The Q3 is the first of the distance ones. It's a little bit chunkier than this, but the Q3 works up to 1 kilometre away, which is more than enough if you're riding with your friends. And again, it's got most of the features that this has got, but a lower distance, and it does have the music sharing as well. The G9 is the earlier version of this. I'm not too sure whether they're going to be discontinuing the G9 or not, but the G9 really has the solid boom mic here. It doesn't have the plug-inable earpieces. Now that's a really good idea, because your earpieces, you can actually use your own if you want. It's a 3.5mm jack where you can plug your own moulded earpieces in, or some bass monsters, where on this, as you can see, they're fixed. But I actually found these earpieces are more than adequate, so I'm quite happy with them. And then the G9X has got the hybrid mic, and it also has the extra feature of the music sharing. But if you wanted to, you can buy yourself just a G9, and then with the extra £100 or so that you're saving, you could possibly buy yourself a couple of the hybrid boom mics, and then you can put them on your spare helmets. So here's a little clip of me and Lynn's when we go out for a ride. This is a typical day with me and Lynn's. So you have to bear with us if you don't think it's very funny, but I actually do. So have a look at this. That's a nice building.
It is, isn't it? I like this. It's really cute.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I keep getting the smell of rotten food. My dustbin.
I can smell.
My dustbin.
No, it smells like a flip-flop.
A what?
A flip-flop.
It does not smell like a flip-flop.
It does. It smells like a flip-flop.
It does not smell like a flip-flop. You're weird.
You know that kind of sand smell?
No, because I don't go around smelling flip-flops. And the beauty of this is the fact that it's just crystal clear. We can talk to each other. I can warn her if there's any problems ahead on the road. If we get lost or split up for any reason, we can make a phone call through the headsets. So I always sing the praises of these because I've been using this G4 now for 2 years, and I recently used it with one of my pupils on an advanced lesson. And normally I can only talk to him and tell him what to do or watch what he's doing. But on this, he can talk back to me on what he's looking at, the things he's noticing, and then I can see that he's not noticed something. and we can polish him up really, really quickly. And I couldn't believe, I can honestly say, in an hour of using these, we probably achieved about 3 or 4 hours of lessons. It was really, really clever. So for my advanced pupils now, I'm going to try and use these. For my normal pupils that were learning to ride, I found that these were a bit of a distraction because these people don't want to talk and ride at the same time. They need to concentrate. So there you go, people. Bottom line is they're fantastic units, and believe it or not, we do sell them. But I want to tell you, I wouldn't sell something like this if I didn't like it. So, you know, if there was a problem with these, I'd just tell the company that I'm not interested. But if you go onto our website, the e-commerce site that's actually in the description below, have a look at the Scala riders, choose whichever one you want and put the code BEACH10 in, and you will get 10% discount off any of these Scala riders. You can buy them singles, you can get your mates to buy them as well, or you can buy a pair and share the cost with your mates, because these work out a little bit cheaper if you buy them as a pair. So I hope I've covered everything. And if you have any questions, or if there's anything you'd like to add, or even if you've got one of these Bluetooth units, let me know what you think, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers.